Welcome, everybody, to Chapter 2 in EDU 220, Teaching Young Children in Multicultural Classrooms, 4th edition, written by Wilma Robles de Melendez and Vesna Beck in 2013. This is your professor, Dr. Melanie Rodriguez, with you again. And this chapter, we're going to be exploring the nature of culture and the nature of people. And this is chapter 2 in your text. And Robles de Melendez and Beck, 2013, explored deep ideas on culture and what is extrinsic to our society versus the intrinsic beliefs within our family structures throughout this chapter. What do you think each of these terms mean in the context of culture? The terms are listed right here with perceiving reality, interpreting events, symbolizing, making value judgments, assigning meaning, and representing reality. So, once again, what do you think each of these terms mean in the context of culture, whether it's your own or someone else's? Let's examine key ideas for functions of culture. Moving on. Take a moment to reflect on these points. And you can read them yourself. I think that it's really important that when we do PowerPoints and presentations that I'm not necessarily reading off every slide, but rather giving you an opportunity to look at it yourself and hear your own voice read these ideas and how you perceive them and how you are learning about them. So now, moving on to the next slide, I want you to think about the differences between material and non-material culture. How does this affect children and families in your conducive learning environment? How does cultural sensitivity apply? So we're moving on to the cultural frames of reference. And what I'd like for you to do is analyze the process of cultural socialization. And these are some key points to think about as you go through that analysis. Moving on, and even though I know that that's not a very long time per slide, you do have the opportunity to pause in between whenever I say analyze or think about. I think that might be a good time for you to just hit the pause button, look at that slide, look at those terms, think about it, go back to your text. All of these PowerPoints are connected to your text. They are based off of Robles de Melendez ideas. They are created from her work. So this is a perfect time for you to look at it, think about it, and hit pause as you go through each of these elements. So let's dive deeper and ponder the formation and impact of prejudice and stereotypes. How does this affect your children's self-esteem? When we talk about children, we're not just talking about your own children in your family. We're talking about your classroom family that you're either working with currently or eventually will be working with. Let's move on. What will you do to create an environment that sees children as individuals and as good contributors to society? These are very important things to think about when we are serving our diverse classroom. So I really want you to explore those ideas. And let's go ahead and, identify the role culture plays in the lives of young children. Acquire new ways to become more culturally competent. What steps will you take to continue your development in multicultural studies? How do you think that will make you a better teacher? Okay, so these are just some of the topics that we've gone through throughout chapter 2 and some ideas and questions that I'd like for you guys to ask yourselves as you go into your assignments for this week. And you have two assignments in particular. The first one is your pre-class assignment, which is a discussion board posting, and some of you have already gone in there. Fantastic. I love that some of you have already started replying and engaging with one another. Keep up the great work. I look forward to seeing everyone in that discussion board tomorrow. And then you also have your written paper this week on your cultural autobiography. And I hope that these slides that correspond with your text, that are created for your text, really help dive deeper into the meaning of what you're reading and help you develop your cultural autobiography. And keep in mind, when you're writing a paper, it's really important to connect your text to your paper. Okay, anytime we have an academic written paper, there should be a short direct quote and or a paraphrase connected with citations in your paper. That is a standard. So really make sure that you're connecting from what you're reading this week to your paper. And I should see some references at the bottom of your paper as well. Your reference for your text, as well as any other references you may have used. It could even be something from this presentation or chapter 1 presentation. You can also use videos that you've seen throughout this week. Just make sure that you cite them in your paper and that you reference them at the bottom of your paper. Make sure your papers are AP style format. And that is about it. Have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing all of your wonderful work very soon.